Welcome to Wise Minds, Wild Hearts, the podcast for heart-led high achievers just like you, ready to take inspired action and achieve true alignment. If you're craving deeper influence, greater impact, and a life that genuinely lights you up, you're in the right place. I'm Kip Clark, former academic turned entrepreneur, transformational coach, elite athlete, and shameless fountain pen addict. Here, you'll learn how to leverage the beautiful wisdom of your years with the wild passion that drives you forward. Together, we'll break through those limiting beliefs, unlock the power of your subconscious mind, and create a life that aligns with your soul's desire. Ready to create the kind of impact you've always dreamed of? Let's do this. Well, welcome, my friend. If this is the first time you are here, I'm so glad you are here, and hopefully you'll find this episode to be helpful, and you'll feel inspired to go and listen to previous episodes. And if you're someone who has been following me for a little while, I'm grateful for you too, and thankful that you're coming back. I wanted to share with you some of the things that I've been thinking about recently as I prepare for the new year. I started in December last year to really think about how I want to change things for this year. And what I want to talk about with you today is based in part on some of what I've been reading from the authors Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. They partnered up, I think, several years ago, and they've written a few books together. The one that I was reading most recently is called 10x is easier than 2x. And it's a really, really interesting concept. So I want to talk a little bit about that with you and also share with you some of my own ideas about that, because it's a concept that dovetails beautifully with my own belief around goal setting. And what I've been saying for a while is, I've been saying it in different ways. One of the things I've said is that when it comes to goal setting, when you set a goal, if you're not experiencing some level of imposter syndrome, you're playing too small. Another way of putting that is, if when you think about your next big goal, if you're not feeling both excitement and a little bit scared at the same time, same thing, you're not aiming high enough. In my view, it's that sweet spot, the sweet spot between the excitement and the uncertainty. That's where the real magic happens. And if I'm following what Sullivan and Hardy have been writing, it's also how you can harness the 10x growth. You can harness that magic for 10x growth. So let's jump right in here. First of all, I want to create a distinction for you between a 2x goal and a 10x goal. So a 2x goal might be something like, let's say in terms of your business, if you earned $100,000 last year, for example, just use a nice round number for that, then your 2x goal would be to earn twice that, or $200,000. And for a lot of people, doubling whatever their productivity was in a previous year would be something they would think that's pretty great, actually. As it turns out, however, when it comes to the way we think about things, so when it comes to inspiration and the excitement around our goals, a 2x goal is probably not going to do that for you. And here's why. When it comes to a 2x goal, so that would be just doubling whatever it is you can measure in your business, whether it's finances or X units of something you're producing, etc. It tends to be very linear in terms of its conceptualization, because it means that you're probably going to be doing more of the same things you're already doing. You'll just do them longer. You maybe work longer hours, or you'll work harder, more intensely, or maybe you'll bring more people onto your team to help you do more of the same of what you've been doing. So 2x thinking tends to be thinking that allows you to keep doing most or all of what you're already doing. Now, I don't know about you, but I love changing things up sometimes. I love learning new things and and challenging myself and feeling that excitement and uncertainty when I don't know how something's going to go, or I don't know, is this something I can really do? There's a high level of energy with that. There's a much higher vibrational energy with that kind of excitement. So a 2x goal it's not going to generate that kind of energetic vibration in the same way. A 10x goal, on the other hand, it's a much bigger goal. And for most people, if you think about 10xing something in your life, the first reaction is often, I have no idea how I'm going to do that. And that's exactly how you should feel when you set a 10x goal. They're also referred to as impossible goals. An impossible goal is a goal that you feel that it's something you want. There's a desire in you. So there's already some good energy behind it. And you have no idea how to take it on. You have no idea what to do to make it happen. But here's the good news. When it comes to goals and goal achievement, initially at least, you do not need to know the how or the when. The how and the when, we leave that up to the universe, to source, to God, who whatever the sort of greater power is that you referred to. The how and the when, we leave that up to source. It's the what and the why. That's our responsibility. So what is it that you want? What is it about this goal? And then why? Why is it important to you? What difference is it going to make? Now, a 10x goal, the reason that it's such a powerful way of setting goals, to set what feels like an impossible goal, there's multiple reasons why it's so much better. As I said already, it naturally raises your vibrational energy, and that allows more creativity to kick in, more innovation, and so on. And it just makes the whole process more enjoyable because you're learning something. You're fired up about something. And that will also invoke the universe to step in and start partnering with you to help out. The uncertainty, it's where growth happens. So when you're setting a goal and you're feeling like, I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I even can do it. Great, because there's such an opportunity for growth and transformation in that. The unknown challenges you to trust in yourself and to trust in the powers that are greater than you, but that are connected to you, to figure things out. Now, new possibilities are just, they're amazing in this way. The second part to this is, because the obvious question is, how do I go about this? How do I go about setting such a big goal? Well, one of the first steps to take when you've got this goal, you've got this idea, and really go inside for this. This cannot be a goal that someone else is giving you. It can't be something you're doing because other people expect it of you or want it for you. It's got to come from within. So that's the first thing. You probably already have an idea inside you about something really big and juicy that you've been wanting for a while. Maybe it's super clear, you know exactly what it is. Or maybe it's a little bit more vague and you've got to get clarity on it, but the clarity will come. Initially, what's required is just this commitment to setting a big goal that feels impossible, that there's a lot of uncertainty around it. And then the next step after that is to be really ruthless about everything you've been doing up to this point. So you have to take a look at, let's say if this is your business that you're considering setting some kind of a massive goal in your business for this year, or it might be over the next 2 or 3 years, because really big goals like this tend to take a bit more time, but they're so worth it. So you may want to use what's called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. And I have talked about this a little bit in a previous episode, but basically the way it works is this. 80% of what we do produces only 20% of the results that we get. 80% of the things that we do regularly produce only 20% of the results that we're getting. So that's not a very good return for that level of energy and time and sometimes money. Now, the reverse of that is true as well, necessarily. 20% of the things that we do produce 80% of our outcomes. So those 20%, that 20% of the things that actually do move you forward, you want to hang on to those and look for ways to expand those. The 80%, that's the stuff that you call. And it's not just stuff, but stuff is part of it. So it's also the habits that you have, the actions that you take, the people that you surround yourself with, and the things that are in your environment, the physical things you have in your environment, and a lot of the digital things that you have in your environment. 80% of all of that is not going to serve you when you're going towards a big, juicy 10x impossible goal. So, one of the first steps then, once you've already got your goal in mind, you've committed to it, doing a ruthless audit and culling everything that's not going to get you to that goal state. And you can just ask, is this action I'm about to take, will this get me to my goal state? If the answer is no, then that thing has to go. Either you can eliminate it altogether, or maybe it's something that you offload to someone else, like a team member, for example. So this kind of ruthless audit, you'll need to do this in 3 areas. So you'll need to do it with the habits or actions that you take regularly. So what are all the things that you are doing currently in your business? 80% of that needs to go. Who are the people that you have around you? If you're like me, if you're like most people, there will be people in your orbit who are not going to be able to get you to that goal state. They just don't have what it takes. They're not the right people. And this absolutely requires that you get the right people around you. So these could be coworkers, these could be friends, associates, might even be some family members. So what's required for working towards and achieving an impossible goal is you've got to have the right people around you, and they've got to be 100% on board with you. Now, that doesn't mean that from time to time they don't challenge your thinking. In fact, that's a really good sort of thing to have in your group. But they support you 100%. They believe in you 100%. So if you've got someone in your environment who is, you know what they're like. They drain your energy. They need a lot of your attention. Maybe they're just really negative people. They always see the glass half empty. Those are not necessarily the people that you want to have around you. You do want to have people that will challenge you, as I've said, but you don't want the negative Nellies there. They are going to hold you back. They'll talk you out of it. It's just not the energy you want to bring to this. So, who are the people in your environment that you need to step away from? And it's not necessarily about severing ties forever. This may just be a temporary thing, and later on you can rekindle the relationship with those people. But if you really want to go for a big goal, this is one of the things that you need to do. You've got to be ruthless about the people you're associating with. So what are the actions that you're taking? What are the habits that you have? 80% of those probably need to go. Who are the people that you're associating with? Possibly 80% of those people need to be kind of, set aside. And then your environment, your physical environment. What do you have around you in the space around you? Is there a lot of clutter there? Are there things in your environment that require your attention that you really rather they didn't? Can you give those things to other people? I don't know, just what popped into my mind is a bonsai plant. I don't have any bonsai trees, but I imagine they take a lot of time to care for them. And maybe you're not going to have time for that as you're moving forward. So if that's something that you feel like, oh, I've got to be taking care of this plant and it's sort of annoying, that's something to get rid of. So it's about the energy that's associated with these things and these habits and these people. If you love bonsai and it's something that lights you up and it relaxes you, then by all means, keep it. So everything, you make a list of everything, and then you look at it ruthlessly and see what can you get rid of. Now, why do you do that? Why do you want to winnow down to just those things and those people and those things in your environment that are helpful and productive and useful for this new big 10x goal you're setting? Well, when you get rid of things like that, when you get rid of all that stuff, all that noise, it creates space. Now, the tendency can be to try to fill that space again right away. Nature abhors a vacuum, so there will be things that will want to come crowding in. You want to resist those initially and take some time. Take some time. You should have more time when you're offloading a lot of these things. It should free up time for you so that you can sit and you can really think and be creative and innovate. So the idea is you clear away what's not working and you create space for what will work for you. And then you're really intentional about what you start to bring in. The question, is this aligned with my 10x goal here, or is this just something that's keeping me busy and creating the illusion of productivity? That's a question I'm asking myself really rigorously right now. I started doing that in December and I'm continuing it now, and it's very, very interesting, and it requires a level of honesty that can be hard sometimes. But as the saying goes, real progress starts once we start telling the truth. Once we start telling the truth, the real progress starts. So you've got to be truthful about how you're spending your time and your energy here. So the 2x goals, just in summary, 2x goals are not always as helpful as they might seem. Even though initially they might seem like a good idea, they will not require you to stretch and grow and transform the way a 10x goal will. A 2x goal is very linear. It comes from a fixed mindset. It's a goal that's very much rooted in the past. We're going to look at what we've been doing already, and we're just going to see how can we do more of that so we can double our output here. It's not an exciting goal. It's not really an energizing goal, not to the same extent, at least. Certainly not to the extent that a 10x goal can do. The magic is in the stretch here. You want to find the goal. You want to find that sweet spot between feeling super excited and feeling kind of scared at the same time. And then audit ruthlessly. Create the space for what truly matters. So if you want to get started on this, obviously the first thing is to think about and to bring into the light this big, beautiful goal. Now, it's not something that you necessarily share with everybody either, because again, if you've got some people around you who will try to talk you out of it, but it's a goal that's big and it's meaningful and it's something you've wanted for a really long time, you don't want to get sidelined by somebody else's fears or concerns, because usually those fears or concerns that's their stuff, and they're just projecting their stuff onto you. So you want people around you who are excited, who are all in, who want to see you succeed, who will be thrilled for you. And you want an environment that's conducive to growth and creativity and innovation. And you want to start doing things that will move you forward as well. So that blend, that beautiful blend of excitement and uncertainty, it's not something to worry about. It's the universe's way of showing you that you're on the right path here. So you should feel charged up about your goal. You should feel excited and filled with wondering questions like, can I do this? I have no idea, but I'm going to give it my best. Okay, next time I'm going to talk about another really big aspect to this, and that is our perception of past, present, and future, that timeline, and also our past self, our present self, and our future self. Because if you're like most of us, I include myself here, I'm changing my thinking around this, but for most of my life, I've had very conventional thinking around past, present, and future. So I'm going to talk a bit about that. I'm going to unpack why thinking that the past informs the present and the present will create the future, why that's actually backwards and why it's really not helpful thinking. So come back and join me again next week. But in the meantime, I'd love to know how this episode has landed with you. And what I hope is that you're feeling a little more charged up and a little more excited about your goal. If you're not experiencing that and you do have some goals set for this year or for the next few years, I invite you to revisit that goal and tweak it and boost it, bump it up so that you are feeling that level of excitement. It'll make all the difference. It'll put wind in your sails. It'll just make a huge, huge difference and impact in your life. All right, my friends, that's it for this episode. If this has been helpful to you, let me know. I love to hear about all the positive changes you're making in your life. And if there's someone you know who might benefit from hearing this message, please share the love, my friend. See you next time on Wise Minds, Wild Hearts.